Warning.
Very closely now. 3, 2, 1. Bzow! Check that out.
The following podcast features terrible jokes.
You know you can use Hot Wheels cars when you need to make a saving throw in D&D? Every car is die-cast.
Usually about board games.
We want the fun. Gotta have that fun.
Must insist that no one attempt to recreate any joke performed on this podcast.
We had less technical issues than $1 million company.
All right!
This is Boards and Swords.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Boards and Swords. This is a podcast featuring bad jokes, good folks, and some tabletop games. Who am I? I'm Chris Renshaw. I'm one of your hosts. With me today is also up in the top, we got Mr. Philip Herbig.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to this wonderful Monday evening. Wherever you're watching from, we're glad to have you with us.
All right. And then, of course, we've got a guest with us today. Down here in the bottom corner, we have Mr. Burky from Kevin Burkert-Schmeier from Game Toppers. Did I say that right? I tried.
It's pretty good. You could get a job at a telemarketing company. It's Burkhard Schmeier. My friends call me Burky, and that's much, much better.
So Burky's here all to talk about the new upcoming Game Toppers Kickstarter. So just a quick summary. What is a Game Topper?
We are so pumped. I tell you, Game Toppers is just a portable gaming table that turns your existing home table into a high-quality board game table with thematic neoprene game mats, cup holders, dice towers, accessories, and we have expanded to have dining covers and leg kits and all kinds of cool stuff. And we have innovated for this new Kickstarter 4.0 to just knock it another notch out of the park. So we're super excited.
Yeah, I bet, and it better be. You know, when you're talking about Kickstarter 4.0, it's got to be bigger and better than all the previous ones. And we're gonna go.
That's what we're sure trying, man.
Yeah, we're gonna go deep into that. But first, we've got some news. I gave a pause in case you were gonna do it, Philip.
I didn't.
So, first up, if you have to force your friends to watch bad vampire movies, is that a Twilight Inscription?
Oh, no.
So, Fantasy Flight Games releases massive multiplayer rules for Twilight Inscription. So, this new rule set, so Twilight Inscription, I believe, goes to, 8 players, 1 to 8 players, and initially previewed at Gen Con, the new rule set allows for up to 24 players to compete simultaneously that are available for free on the Twilight Inscription main page. The rules may be free, but you do still have to have 6 copies of the game in order to, or no, 4 copies of the game. Math. No, 3 copies. I can't math again. 3 copies of the game in order to play. That's actually a little bit better.
That's a little bit better. It's okay.
That's perfect for if you've got if you've got a con or some kind of big event at your game store.
There you go.
But
pull 3 copies off the shelf and make a big. Yeah, there you go.
Last thing I need is more massive rule sets, though.
Yeah, I feel like this is not something the everyday player is going to do. No one's sitting there going, "Hey, let's play 24 players."
I did like the game, though. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, I really do too. Especially because I'm more likely to play this than I am to play, get in a game of. As much as I like Twilight Imperium, this stands a better chance of getting put on the table these days.
Yeah,
24 players, it might take as long.
That's true. Unless you put it, get some chess clocks out. I was going to say the only Imperium these days I'm playing involves the 41st millennium.
The Imperium of Man.
Moving on.
Which we'll be talking about later in the news.
I'm starting a niche website where I sell teddy bears that I've kept in a freezer. I'm calling it CoolStuff. So this actually, it was surprising and not surprising at the same time. Like, I was surprised to see it, but at the same time, when they said the reasoning, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. CoolStuff Inc. is phasing out board games and RPGs. They realize TCGs is where all the money is.
Okay.
So it's phasing out its board game and RPG selections in both its online and 6 and brick and mortar stores as a result of a strategic decision to emphasize TCGs, the company announced. Board games and RPGs are currently being discounted at up to 70% off in the online store, with many titles already out of stock. Which apparently I didn't realize it was formed in 2002.
And it's been that way for a while too. You saw that shift here a couple of years ago with them, and you saw a lot of product moving over to miniature market, and that was you could tell that shift where CoolStuff used to be the tail wagging the dog as far as online, discounter, and that changed.
Yeah, and it was also like their booths. That was another change. That was another reason. Like, I was surprised but not surprised, because we have kind of seen this coming at Gen Cons, where the past couple of in the years past, like, their booths were just swarmed with people getting board games, and in fact their Ding and Dent selection was like the place to be to get some like good deals on games. But it's recently, like the past at least 2 or 3 that I've been to, where it's just a CCG booth or TCG booth.
Most of their logistics have really changed also with Quartermaster logistics, so that they've become much more of a distributor of products for a lot of game manufacturers, and I think they found that to be more profitable.
Yeah, and it mentions down here that they're still doing all of that through their Quartermaster Direct and Quartermaster Logistics. It's just in the retail. So they're still distributing a lot of stuff, because I know a lot of Kickstarters. I definitely get stuff that says Quartermaster Direct on it.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
So, but
I'm flipping through the website right now. RPGs are all sold out.
like all of them.
You sort by in stock first, and
Yeah.
everything's just out of stock.
Woo!
I clicked on customizable games. Versus System 2 PCG Marvel WandaVision Volume 5 Issue 1 for $4.
Nice.
Oh, nice. I just want a copy of Eclipse.
the new one.
Right. And I bet they don't have it.
No, that was probably first to go.
There's an Apple Red deck box. Deck boxes are in stock.
How much? Wait, how much is 70% off a deck box? Like 50 cents?
It's $3.79.
Oh.
There's also an you can get an Eclipse Wyvern card for 30 cents for the Yu-Gi-Oh game.
Oh, see, that's TCGs though, so that'll still be there. It is just wild to see, just because of, like, how long was CoolStuff? I don't even know if they still are backers of or sponsors of the Dice Tower, and you'd see CoolStuff stuff on all, or promo stuff on all their videos and things.
Yeah, they switched to another company called Game Nerds, I believe, a couple of years ago. So that changed, and I don't know that much about Game Nerds, but we saw a lot of movement towards miniature market. I know that for sure. And then miniature market sold out to Asmodee, so that was quite a big news piece also.
Yeah. Well, speaking of people flocking to get product that's gone, you can try to get this next Pokemon promo card, but it's already gone.
What up? Oh, that's actually a good one.
Pokemon's latest promo card turns Pikachu into Van Gogh, and it's already ridiculously popular, and I'm not surprised, because I want this. So
Pokemon's kind of cool.
Pokemon's next promo card reimagines Pikachu in the style of legendary painter Vincent Van Gogh, and like any promotional Pokemon card, it quickly proved to be immensely popular fans and would-be scalpers alike. Yeah, this card, I saw some pictures of people taking screenshots. This is like, we're talking Lorcana here, where it was going for like $15,000 on eBay.
Amazing.
But though, what I found weird was that the Van Gogh promo card is being offered as a part of a new Pokemon crossed with Van Gogh exhibition in Amsterdam's Van Gogh Museum, marking the 50th anniversary of the museum, celebrating the life and work of the influential painter, who apparently was inspired by Japanese art prints, which is where you get the Pokemon connection.
Okay.
So if you can kind of see, if you scroll down in the picture we have linked here, they've got a couple of the other things in here. So the The mascot Pikachu takes the place of Van Gogh himself in the artist's 1887 self-portrait with felt gray hat or gray felt hat. But there's also some there's another one that looks like it's like the very same style, but it's got Eevee, and you got Snorlax here, over here, and I can't see from the detail of this picture what's in the Starry Night, or not Starry Night, but that's Monet. I just remembered, but.
Those look like that's some kind of field, so maybe a bird.
Yeah, well, yeah, I can definitely tell it's a bird. I just can't tell what bird Pokemon it is. But so the promo card is being offered to those who book a ticket for the exhibition between September 28th and January 7th next year, who then must complete a Pokemon adventure activity, a scavenger hunt designed to encourage children to learn more about Van Gogh, to then receive the free card in person. So that's the thing, is the people that are selling these, they don't actually have the card yet.
Yeah.
They bought a ticket that they then have to go get the card, and then they will mail to the person.
See, that's why it's $15,000. You got to get your flight to Amsterdam, then you got to go do the thing.
Yeah. Despite being aimed at young children, it says the activity is aimed at those 6 and up, but the offer of a free card is unsurprisingly drawn many older collectors to the museum in hope of picking up the card.
Yeah, and that was my previous duh. Of course, older collectors are going to be looking for that.
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't want that card?
Hey, I'm an older collector. Just look at me.
Yeah,
and it's
All
a
kinds of crap.
full card artwork too.
Oh, yeah.
That's.
I feel like they need to make a common version of this. Like, how the regular style that's got not the full art but just the smaller picture.
Yeah,
that would probably sell like hotcakes too, and not complete. And you could just say a portion of each card goes to the museum, and boom, instant fundraiser for the museum.
there you go.
That'd be cool.
This
Are we
makes
going to
me
get a
sad.
Raichu with a gray felt hat too? I mean, just to complete the.
Nobody cares about
And
Raichu.
And maybe a Pichu trying to he can't fit the hat on his head. It just engulfs him.
Yeah, the Pichu with the hat completely over his head. I mean, it does make. I'm kind of curious what else is at the Pokemon Van Gogh exhibit.
Yeah.
That's the kind of neat thing that more museums and libraries need to do to get kids interested in things. Like, it sounds weird, but it engages it engages me, and I'm a child at heart, so what else is there to say?
Oh wow. Look at the sorry, we're making the story drag on, but if you go down to the video,
How far down?
or probably you might have to go up to the where is the
expensive Pokemon cards?
No, the Twitter video. How come that's not in
Oh.
the post?
I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, it's a video of just like a Black Friday pandemonium in the museum gift store.
Nah. Oh, okay. I think I remembered seeing. Yes, I saw that somewhere. Yeah, video posted. Okay. Oh, okay. So the browser you're in might show the link. That's
Oh
what
yeah, it's
probably
showing
it
me the
is.
full video. Yeah,
That's
that's
what
it's
That's crazy.
and the comment right above it, because this is from someone in Amsterdam posted this.
Yeah.
The English retweeting of it was, "This is why we can't have nice things."
Yeah. This is not an acceptable practice. If you do that, shame on you. Well, you know what? You should be, they're just trying to get money. You should be shaming the people that are actually buying it.
That one too.
Because they wouldn't do it if they knew they couldn't get away with it. All right. Next up, there's the classic stereotype of you have like your dolls to have tea parties and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I got a new advertising campaign for Hasbro. They should break that mold by having them have cookouts instead. You could call them barbecues.
I like that one.
I saw this picture and it had to be in here. So there's a challenge called War Barbie. Challenges Warhammer 40K players to mix dolls with miniatures and monstrous creations. the subheading is she has become death. So Barbie's had every job imaginable at this point. She's been a doctor, a lawyer, an astronaut, and now she's heading to the 41st millennium, grabbing a power sword and blasting her way across the grim, dark world of Warhammer 40k. That is, if you're willing to give her some modifications. War Barbie 2023 is a competition set up by Lawrence Center, who goes by, I'm not even going to say that, a miniature crafter painter. He's best known for giant detailed dioramas kit bashed together using Warhammer pieces. So he started, and now with collaboration with Berkshire-based hobby store Cryptic Cabin, is running a competition that encourages hobbyists to kit bash their own wild creations using Warhammer and doll parts using the War Barbie 2023 banner. Creators can grab parts from any doll brand, not just Barbie. So far, I've seen fuzzy Sylvian families armed with guns, doll heads fashioned into Tyranid legs, and baby dolls crawling out of pits. I mean, this is just like Sid work here.
It is. It's great.
I also Toy Story.
I was looking at that very first picture with the rabbit. I'm kind of appreciating the detail on the back of like there's a little blood on that extra arm.
Yeah.
Like this is some sort of recent modification.
Yep. I mean, just the rabbit with the chain gun.
Oh yeah, the rabbit with the chain gun and the I don't even know what that extra arm is supposed to be.
I think it's a servitor, or like a tech priest would have.
Okay.
Like just a mobile arm, or at least that's what it's supposed to be. It's kind of tiny, so it might be just pieces glued together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you've got this is like some chaos stuff here that they've kind of cut into kind of a crown.
That is wicked.
Yeah. But it's definitely it's merging two things you normally wouldn't see, and I like the creativity. I will not be doing this, mainly because I'm pretty sure, even though I'm fairly positive we have doll pieces around, because for some reason, even though the kid said she never did it, we'd always just find doll pieces laying, or like heads off of Barbies and whatnot. And I'm sure we still have those in a box somewhere, but she might, I might give her nightmares. Even though she's like almost 20 at this point, she still might get nightmares if I start bashing together war machines with this. I need to see a Titan. I need to see a Barbie Titan. I just realized
this. Remember those things from like the late 90s, early 2000s, the like my life-size Barbie?
Yeah.
Just get one of those and start putting like Titan armor on top of it.
Oh my gosh, I did not plan for this. But I have to go to Instagram because, which apparently doesn't want to. There it goes. I loaded in Instagram's like, oops, an error occurred. Okay, maybe not. I was trying to see if I could pull up pictures of the War Barbie hashtag, but yeah, hashtag War Barbie 2023 to go get more. I mean, I'll have to like link to them on Facebook. Some of my favorites. All right, I got one last story for you here. Click back to the screen here. Did you hear the story of the Apple Store employee who would wipe customers' phones when they came in for help? Yep, he's an evil genius.
Yeah.
This one was just weird. Another title that just was kind of like, huh? Like when I saw the title of the article. So, Rebel Moon Tabletop RPG Studios sues Netflix over canceled adaptation of Zack Snyder movie. So apparently, Evil Genius Games is a company that's made taken films such as Kong Skull Island, Total Recall, and Pacific Rim, and used it to make D&D 5e compatible RPG pieces for their Everyday Heroes RPG. So they decided, and this is actually kind of cool, they began working with Netflix on this new property called Rebel Moon. And it was going to be a kind of like I'm getting Defiance vibes off of this, where they were kind of, they had the show and the video game kind of being developed at the same time. Mm-hmm. With one kind of supporting the other. And that seemed to be kind of what they were doing here, is they were developing the game and writing a movie at the same time, with that like kind of that, at least that's the way it started out. So according to this, to Mr. Snyder, a tabletop RPG was critical to the development of the entire Rebel Moon universe, since it would provide content for future Rebel Moon derivatives. However, they put a pitch together for the tabletop RPG, including a playable demo and potential storylines, and it claims that they blew Netflix and Snyder away and got the rights to work on the official adaptation. In fact, it was so much that they even started putting together like this world Bible of this franchise, and they liked it so much that some of the Bible would be worked into elements of the film. So it kind of one of those where like the RPG progressed along so much that they took pieces of it and were going to use it in the movie. But then what seemed to happen is, so mere weeks later, however, the seemingly harmonious partnership fell apart as Netflix accused Evil Genius of breaching its confidentiality agreement and, quote, Netflix's trust, terminating the partnership and effectively canceling the release of the Rebel Moon RPG. So I don't know if the movie is still planning on coming out. So its planned release is on December 22nd. Maybe it's just the game that they're hoping to can. So apparently this all stemmed from Evil Genius and retailers met at the Gamma trade show back in April, where they showed artwork from the RPG, and retailers and distributors, according to Evil Genius, to try and like create some industry buzz about the RPG and set it up for success. But Netflix is claiming that the artwork was confidential and unapproved, thereby breaching the confidentiality agreement between the streaming platform and Evil Genius. So thus, this is why Netflix is then now suing. However, Evil Genius says that there was 2 Netflix employees present at Gamma and presented the artwork. Which, I mean, is what it is, but like when you've got 2 people there that are acting and, if they're acting in there's difference between were they acting as an official manner as Netflix or were they just 2 people that happen to be there? If they're acting as Netflix and they don't say anything, it's their fault, not the company's fault.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not a lawyer.
But I watch them on TV.
Yeah. And it's not like that stuff was released. Like, yes, they showed it to more than 100 retailers, but they didn't, like, publish it on Twitter. X, excuse me.
I wonder why they didn't want that released, or what was so proprietary about it and secret that they wouldn't have wanted that pre-pub
I don't
going
know.
out there.
I don't know. I mean, it's possible that Netflix was just looking for a way to get out of this somehow and saw it. Like maybe Evil Genius read into the situation more and Netflix was like okay with it, but like maybe we're going a little bit too far on this RPG thing. And then it's like, let's just this is a chance for us to pull the plug. Let's just do that. So
wait a minute, really? So I'm looking through the IMDb for because the guy on the far right holding the rifle, that's I'm not gonna butcher his name, but he's been in a bunch of cool stuff. He was in Guardians of the Galaxy. As like the set.
Yes, it's no. He's talking about the guy.
His like, last name is like Hoso or
it's like Digimon or something like that.
Yeah, like I don't want to butcher the guy's name, but Carrie Elwes is in the movie.
Oh yeah, that's him in the background right here, I think.
I don't know if that's him, but yeah, like the Dread Pirate Roberts.
He's talking about, but the person on the far right, he's talking about who when Star-Lord is like, my name's Star-Lord, and the guy's like, who?
Oh yeah,
like when he first gets caught in the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I'm just like that's flipping through the IMDb's a great website. I'm just gonna say that.
So, I definitely want to hear Netflix's kind of response to this, because with it being a lawsuit, they're gonna have to put out some like standard PR thing. I'm wondering what their claim will be. So, all right,
that's interesting.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Speaking of movies, this is a little unscripted, but have you heard of Geek Nights?
Yes, I believe so.
I posted something over in the Secret Cabal Discord channel a little while ago, but Geek Nights is started by, it's Geek and then Nights, 2Ks.com. Brian Finn is this 30-year stunt man, and he has a studio in Los Angeles. He also has a big studio up in Utah, and he's kind of moved all of his stuff over there. But what he's doing is taking role-playing games, and it's about 15 to 25% of role-playing activity, and then it's converted into live action stunt fantasy drama.
Oh.
And we've actually met with him, and they actually have one of our Game Toppers, and they're actually we're at FanX, and they had Amy Vorpal and Tracy Hickman from Dragonlance there.
Ooh.
And they're bringing in some pretty big names, and it looks like quite the production. They're thinking this is going to go really big, and they'll have a series of, I believe, 8 to 12 episodes per year. And there you can see some of the footage.
Oh, this is actually really cool. It reminds me of the Philip, did I ever get you to watch Darkness Rising?
Yes.
That's the vibe. I'm getting that vibe, and I'm also getting Viva La Dirt League.
Who takes enhanced initiative?
And it's kind of that the actual game playing, and then the dice rolls right there, and then all of a sudden they're back into real life. And these stories are going to be quite immersive. And when I've seen the things that they've done and his resume, he worked on one of the big Disney games. What was it? Disney movies, John Carter. He was one of the stunt directors or something for that. But they've got a lot of connections in that audience over there in LA, and I think they're going to do something kind of cool here.
Yeah, this is very cool.
That's our green war terrain mat, and then they've got one of the walnut Mycrofts set up at FanX where they were bringing all the people in to show them all the cool stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah,
I think it's going to be a pretty high production value.
Sounds like it. Looks like they're doing some fundraising right now.
Basically that's, I believe they're going to start their Kickstarter and their crowdfunding. They've got a big marketing company too that is bringing it to that audience.
Apparently they're doing a dating and social app too.
Yeah. I was telling me about all that too, a geek social app.
Hey, Philip.
App. So, yeah.
Shut up, I'm making an
Destiny awaits. It all happened here on the Boards and Swords podcast. You'll remember where it all began.
We'll get episodes in the bonus bits. Live updates.
I'm kind of excited about this for them, actually. I've had several conversations with him, and my son Josiah has talked to him a couple times too. And it's just a neat thing, and you love it when creatives get together and just do something that nobody's done, right?
Right.
Yeah.
All right, now, but speaking of crowdfunding, Philip, why don't you tell about our crowdfunding?
That's right, folks. boardsandswords.com/Patreon, patreon.com/boardsandswords. Both of those links will get you to where you want to go. It's got all of the cool stuff that you get access to, a lot of background stuff that we do. Everybody gets access to the Discord, but there's some special hidden channels in there. All right, you gotta be helping us out. Yeah, we got a bunch of different tiers. All right, at one of the tiers, Chris is gonna roast your favorite games with some of the best worst dad jokes imaginable. And then there are dice. There are dice that go out a few times on the calendar. We're still working on getting a bunch of those set up. Really cool D6s. They've got our logo on there. And then the ultimate, the piece de resistance. Love Mutants of Castle Heartache. All right. If we get enough subscribers, there will be a live play We might even LARP this. Okay. I've been working out so I can look like my character on the book there. We gotta. I'm trying.
I might
And
have to,
we
I might have to put out some feelers that, or I might have to hire somebody then for the
for the Gorgon.
Yeah.
Right there. Yeah. Yeah. We're working on it. But you're gonna get a live play of that with me and Chris and whoever we can blackmail into helping us.
Yes. I'm wondering though if we might need to do a test run because there's a game. There's an RPG I want to do because we're coming up on Halloween time. There's a spoopy RPG I want to play, and it would be kind of as a test bed run of like maybe if we're backed at a certain level, just not a weekly dirtbags kind of thing, but in the dirtbag style, but maybe just as like a short, like every quarter you get like a series kind of thing.
Oh, there you go.
So if you're going to see that, you only get it by go to patreon.com/boards and swords. And also the reason the dice haven't gone out yet is because right now it's basically covering all the website costs. I don't have enough to like charge or to mail stuff out.
I start selling them feet pics, Chris.
I know. So with that, we're going to turn it back to Burky, who's going to talk about the 4.0 Kickstarter. Actually, before we do talk about that, I want to talk because what I'm sure it probably has been talked about a bunch of times, but I don't recall what started the idea for the Game Topper originally.
Yeah, that's a great question. It came from the love of the hobby. I didn't start into this, tabletop hobby, larger hobby, really till about 10, 12 years ago. Now, I've been gaming since I was in high school. And so you can look at me, that's been a while. So, 1983, I graduated, and we played all those big games like Axis and Allies and Fortress America and Shogun, those big Milton Bradley box games. And we played Risk and some of that other stuff, but I wasn't aware of this hobby like I am now, of course. Well, in 2014, took my son to Gen Con, and this was the first time. Now, right before that, Days of Wonder, at Christmas time, they would always do this buy one, get one free deal. So we started every Christmas, we would buy a Days of Wonder game. So we got Cleopatra, City of Architects, you got all the memoirs, we got the Ticket to Rides, we got the Cargo Noir and Mystery Express, all of those type of games, Mystery of the Abbey and all of the Colosseum, all those games. Family loved it. We played those games. But that was the extent. Well, we go to Gen Con, and at this time, my son, he was graduating high school. Him and his best friend and his dad came with me. And what did we do? We're in the gaming library, and we're playing this game called Nothing Personal. Well, I knew nothing about the designer of this game, but this big guy comes walking over to us with this red cap and red shirt, and I look at him, and he goes, "So have you whacked anybody yet?" And I'm like, "Who is this?" Well, my son Josiah knew who this was. This was none other than Tom Vassell. And they were like awestruck. They couldn't talk. He's like, "He's Tom Vassell." And I'm kind of like, "Who is this guy?" And anyway, he taught us a few things about the game. It was super fun. The next night, we're in that same library, and he sees the four of us. He goes, "Hey, you guys looking to play a game?" I said, "Yeah." And what do you recommend? And we played El Grande, 5 players, had so much fun. And I saw this hobby and went, "Oh my goodness." Well, back in that time, the biggest game table manufacturer was Geek Chic.
Oh, yeah.
And they had this huge display over there by the Mayday Games booth, and they had that great big Mayday, area where they did tons of stuff. And I'm a woodworker and I'm a craftsman. And I was totally enamored with this whole thing. Well, it just opened up the doors to this whole world, and the next year, my daughters have a historical costume company called Maddie's Millinery and Costumers, and they're the national clothers for the Jane Austen Society. Well, when we play games, we jump into character. So if we're playing Nothing Personal, it's like, when did I ever refuse an accommodation? I mean, we immediately, whatever it is, we jump into it. Well, we had this idea. What if we played games in costume and in character and put it on YouTube? And so we asked Tom Vassell that year, what do you think about this idea? He says, well, I can't give you any money, but I'll put you on the Board Game Breakfast Show. All right, well, what's the Board Game Breakfast Show? Excuse me. Our first episode, I was the good sheriff of Nottingham. Well, so how does this pertain to how Game Toppers started? Well, at that time, I designed a dedicated table, and my dad and I worked on it, and he built me this beautiful hickory, and it's got deer horn and all kinds of copper and leather, and beautiful table. We loved it. Well, my two oldest daughters, who have the costume company, got married. They moved about an hour away from us, 40 minutes, and we would play games at their house on Wednesday nights. Long and short of that, we thought, how do I make a portable version of this table so that I can take to their house so we can play games? And so I built a prototype, and it kind of sucked. It was huge. It had a hinge in the middle, and I had to use my Suburban to even carry it, and I had an old crappy piece of carpet, as a play area, and had no cup holders, nothing. But then I made another one, and then I made another one, and all of a sudden it started coming together. And my dad and I made a couple, and I used to own a successful computer company called Integrity Computer Systems. So I've had some business background, ran a lot of different businesses, and I had some connections in manufacturing in our hometown, and I brought them the idea. And I said, I got this idea, and you're gonna think I'm crazy, because it's about board games. What? Yeah, it's this thing is happening. You just got to trust me. The biggest thing in board games, people love to trick out their games. They want accessories for their games. They want storage solutions for their games, and they want to play on a table. This is the holy grail of a gamer. It's like the fishing boat. You know what I mean? If you're a fisherman, you want that big fancy fishing boat. Well, this is the holy grail. We want this big, beautiful table. Figured it out. I spent $30,000 of money I did not have, borrowed some just to prove the concept, bought the aluminum molds for our military grade aluminum, all of this thing working with their engineers, because I wasn't going to go to Kickstarter if I didn't know it worked. I didn't want to do that to anyone. I needed to know for myself that this was the real deal. But I needed it to be affordable but high quality. I didn't want it cheap. I knew that if I was building a wood table topper, that my craftsmanship costs and capacity would be the cost would be too high and the capacity would be too low. So we were looking for high quality and yet something that would be manufacturable. That's where we came into our military grade aluminum rail system. And that's where it started. And I went to Kickstarter in 2017, but before that, we went to Gen Con. I had a ton of publisher friends, and at that time, we had developed a lot of friendships with people in the media community, and I sold a bunch of these toppers to people for half of what I paid. It was like I lost about 15 grand, or I invested $15,000 just getting toppers out there. And Stefan Brochot from Yellow Games, he was the North American CEO at that time, and he bought 7 of those toppers sight unseen, just from a little video for me. I can't thank him enough. And when we went to Gen Con that year, there was 18 companies that had game toppers in their booths showing off games, and nobody knew what they were. We hadn't been to market yet. And so I took 120 little movie clips of first reaction videos. Hey, what do you think about playing on this game topper? What? This is on a folding table? Yeah. What do you think? Oh, this is cool. How much are they? Oh, they're $500, $600, $700. What? I want one now. Where do I get it? Yeah. Well, we don't know yet. We're trying to figure it out. And we went to Kickstarter, and thankfully it took some amazing backers, amazing support from all my media friends and publishers, and we were just so blessed with so many people loving what we did, and we raised $500,000, and by the end of the year we doubled it, and so we were able to just keep going and innovating and getting better and better with all the different offerings. That's how it all started.
And you've just been keep going ever since. And so now it's not even just a tabletop, it's not just a game topper, it's a whole table in itself.
Yeah, it's really neat because at first we just had 2 models. the Sherlock Holmes and the Watson, but we had the rail innovation where you can buy an accessory rail to convert half of your topper into a mini topper. People totally dug that because they would buy double rail bundles where they get the smaller mat, because then you could take the smaller table and use it as a coffee table or use it when you're going camping or that type of thing. And a lot of people would do two of them so they could set up two separate smaller tables if they were doing smaller games and things of that. But then we started, people wanted bigger tables, like for your big RPGs and your big miniature games like Warhammer and things of that nature. So we developed the Mycroft. Our biggest is the 4-foot by 8-foot play area. Now all of our toppers are actually 7 inches bigger than the play area, so it's a really nice play space. And then we innovated again by adding an extension leaf where you could go 24 inches bigger. So you could get the Mycroft XL, which was 4 foot by 8 foot. And we did that because a lot of people play on their pool tables and ping pong tables. Oh. So when I was talking to my manufacturer about that, I said, well, I know that my Watson backers and my Holmes backers, they're going to want an extension leaf. Can we do it? He says, yeah, it's the same jig. It's just a shorter board for the far. He said, yeah, that's easy. Worked with the engineers. And then we brought all these bundles where you could get the bigger mat, and there's nobody out there that makes an 8-foot mat, especially of the quality and the thematic elements that we provide. It's a real unique thing that it's still portable. You can put it all in the bags and throw it in the closet, but you can have this great, huge, wonderful setup in just 2-3 minutes. You know, you became a backer. What was it, probably 3 or 4 years ago, Chris?
I did not. I have not officially backed a backer. I bought one of the existing stock before the third Kickstarter in 2021. It was one of like the last Watsons you had, because purely because I couldn't wait, because it was summer of 21, and that was, you know, I got the vaccine. I can have people over again. I'm a very extroverted person, so I've been dying for the past like year and a half. And so my wife was like, kind of like I gotta give it to him because he's been driving me nuts. So yeah, that was
I consider you a backer because you bought, whether you bought from our website or the Kickstarter. I still think you're one of our supporters, customers, but you've seen how easy it is to set that thing up and take it down. And then, like you just said, we started having people wanting to be able to have it as a freestanding table, but still have portability. And we developed a really heavy-duty leg kit system that has real strong steel corners. The legs just screw right in, but they screw right out very simply also. And then, of course, people want a dining cover. They want to eat on it, and they want to keep the cat from jumping over and knocking over everything, right? So we made a dining cover, and we got this really cool high-resin powder-coated dining cover that just performs beautifully, and people are loving those. But then we've gotten so many different accessories to go along with the system, with all the different configurations. We have currently 20 different thematic game mats, and these are 3.6 millimeter high density stitched edge high quality mats from some of the industry's top board game artists. We've spared no expense on art. We really love working with the creatives there. I do all the art direction, but I've had some experiences with some awesome artists like Vincent Dutray. He did our great wall mat on our last Kickstarter. He had just finished the new one. We're going to tease some of these new mats, but we have 20 current mats. Okay?
I was about to ask, that's 20, not including this new Kickstarter.
That's not including, and now because of all the configurations, 11 sizes. Yeah. Not every mat is made in every size, but I mean, when you go to our website, you can see all the different sizes that we have, but it's like 164 SKUs in my clean pick and pack area. We have a 5,000 square foot warehouse where we custom pick every order, and it's just glorious. It's just wall to wall mats and all these different sizes. And then we decided, let's not kick it up a notch and add 10 more.
And I can attest to the nature of all those SKUs. I got a small taste of that at PAX Unplugged, where you show up, you're like hanging a bunch of different mats, or you've got them on the table kind of splayed out, and then people be like, I want that mat but in this size. It's like, okay, I gotta go grab the master spreadsheet of yes, it says we have one. Now I'm gonna need like 5-10 minutes while I go back and find it.
That was so fun at PAX, Chris, because this was after you were already a customer of ours, but we had people helping us, and I got to tell you, the crews that I've had at Origins and BGG Con and PAX Unplugged, they're the best. They're customers of ours, so they're really passionate about our product. And I just say, listen, you don't have to convince anybody of anything. Just don't push anybody. Just show them what you have and why you like it. That's the greatest story and testimony of anything, right? And anyway, you were part of that team, and you were so gracious to help us out, and you got so good at it that the whole team were looking up to Chris, and they started calling him the closer. So they would do their presentation, and they'd have the customer, and when the customer is ready to go, well, right over to Chris, and Chris, he closed it. He got them all hooked up.
Because sometimes they like, well, I got to think about it, but then they like walk by the booth like 3 or 4 more times, like just like fighting your internal and be like, hey, I've seen you here. Have you, and then you just reel them in. I think there was, let's see, how many you had, like, I want to say 6 or 7, I think, for sale there, like actually physically there. And I think I took payment on like 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting. And we sold through a potload of mats. We're going to be at PAX Unplugged this year again and do basically the similar thing. But we have this upcoming Kickstarter on the 24th of October. And this has been a long time coming. The pandemic was really hard on a lot of companies. I mean, I have friends in the hobby that are no longer in the hobby as businesses, and it breaks my heart. It was hard on us too. And yet, thankfully, we had enough customer service. We're very lean, our company. There's only 4 of us. My son manages the warehouse. Josiah is his name, and he's brilliant. He's a computer science major, but he manages the backer kit. We're in 18 countries in Europe, Australia, New Zealand, United Kingdom. We've got toppers in Singapore and Dubai and Israel. I mean, all over the place. This thing is just kind of blown up, and he manages all that brilliantly. And we're super attentive to customer service. I always believe I have 2 main philosophies in business, and one is that I want to treat others as I want to be treated. And the second thing is I want to give people more than they expect. And we have that happen because we have that commitment to take care of every customer. So if you ever have a problem or ever have a question even, you can get a hold of Burky or you can get a hold of Josiah, and we're not going to handle this like Amazon where you're just a number and you're just an email. My customers matter to me. And then secondly, is we're constantly trying to get better at the things that we're doing. And so that's where all the innovation comes from. And it all comes from the love of board gaming. We love games. I love to trick out my games. I mean, I'm geeking out about my own mats right now. I'm really, really geeking out about them. They're like my kids, but I really like these.
Sure enough, when I saw him at Gen Con, he surely had to pull me over and like, hey, check this out, and just pulls out his phone and just starts swiping through the pictures.
Well, it's been a long time coming because the pandemic, there was so many shipping overruns, cost of goods went through the roof. I mean, we ate close to $250,000 of overruns with shipping product. My walnut tripled in price when we had to do fulfillment, and you come up with $37,000. It didn't, just by itself, it's not a deal breaker or anything, but when you add everything happening, there was just a lot of companies that had a hard time with that, and we had a hard time too, but we were lean and we just kept working hard, and we stayed afloat. But in the meantime, we had to modulate a little bit because there was different problems. There were supply chain issues. There was a lot of those things, and we're trying to get better, right? We're not trying to get more expensive. We're trying to get better, and we're trying to have more quality, all those things. So we came up with some innovations, and we were hoping to have this Kickstarter launched in May. We were going to be doing an inlaid wood product with a company, and unfortunately that company actually went out of business, sadly. Wonderful people. But we had another idea, but it took us a little while to make sure that it was tested properly and that we felt comfortable with it, and then to do all the art direction. And I can share some of that with you here too in a few moments, but we can go through some of the other things. What excited you the most about Game Toppers, Chris?
Honestly, I mean, the I can talk to what excited me the most about Game Toppers was having, like we have single income, so we're not overwhelming with money, and just being able to have that deluxe kind of game table experience, without having to fork over. You look at those Wormwood Prophecy tables and they're like 14 grand, which is like, they just took the place of like what the Geek Chic. And I mean, like, it's beautiful and it's totally worth that much money. It's just one of those like, oh, I'll never have that. And even if I did, it would be a horrible investment because I have cats, and anything wood, they're just going to destroy. So like, why would I pay, so much money for something that my pets are just going to immediately destroy? And that's one thing about, literally you've kind of cornered the market on, is the aluminum is, I really don't have to worry about it. And, it's still, and it doesn't look like, some cheap knockoff kind of thing. Like, it's a solid, sturdy table. Looks just as good as any of those other tables.
When I said that we always want to give the customer more than they expect, that was the common thread that people said all the time. Wow, this is way better than I thought. I didn't realize this was this good. And so until people, it just doesn't quite translate on video, on websites and sales, Kickstarter, until you actually, that's why we do a lot of testimonials. We have close to 70 media reviewers that either use our products or are thrilled to talk about them. There's very few of them that I even pay for because there's so many people, they just love what we do. And I love them too. So sometimes I'll send them something that's new. We got our new mats or whatever, just so they can enjoy that kind of thing. And I'm, grateful for the signal boosting, of course. But the product was a T6 aluminum, which is considered military grade. It's the hardest temper of aluminum that I can buy that is not aircraft quality. So it's the most expensive. There's several grades lower, but they don't have the same hardnesses that will maintain the tolerances needed, and then so that they don't dent and all of that. The military aircraft quality is like 10 times the cost of this, but this stuff isn't cheap. And that aluminum went up 23% during the pandemic. And I just said, listen, we're not changing it. We're not going to go to the lower grade just to save a little bit so we can keep it, and we made some modest price increases, but I want this to be heirloom. I want you to have this the rest of your life. And there's no reason it won't last. I mean, unless you go out and drag it on concrete or something. I mean, they're pretty bulletproof. We've got like 30 some publishers that have had them through 20, 30 shows.
Yeah.
Scott Alden from Board Game Geek, he bought 34 of these toppers for the Hot Games Room. And that's went through, they have 2 conventions a year.
Yeah.
And that was, I mean, they look just as good. And the retailers, we've got about 50 retailers that use these, and you can't tell that they aren't new.
Yeah, I had to get the leg kit for mine only because the only table I had that I could put it on was very wobbly. And that's the benefit and detriment to the Game Topper is that it sticks to whatever you put it on. So if what you put it on is very wobbly, it's going to be very wobbly because it's not going to move.
That's true.
So
we have a really high quality 3M rubberized material under the cross supports, and Game Topper can overhang your under table by as much as 7 to 9 inches. So a lot of people use our Sherlock Holmes, which is 3 foot by 6 foot, on just those little 30-inch by 6 foot plastic lifetime tables, and it stays. It won't move. The table is, and actually the Game Topper helps stiffen that lower table a little bit, remarkably, but it's only as good as your base. You're right.
Yeah, in fact, that's what I would demo at Gen Con, is I would just take the tables and shaking it. And I'm like, that's not the game topper moving. That's the table underneath moving.
Yeah, that's true.
But
we demo them on folding tables actually at the shows to show people, but now we set some up with leg kits too. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. There's a lot of people that don't have a dedicated room for their gaming,
Yeah.
or maybe the whole family doesn't want the table up all the time, those kind of considerations. So this is kind of the best of both worlds, because it literally, you put it, take it apart, two halves, one half goes on the table, the other half with it. You have a little connector cleat that locks in. There's a really cool little video on the website. Put it in your storage bag, put it on the table, roll out your game mat, your gaming, and then put it away in the closet, put it in the garage, you're good to go. Take it to game night, and you got the best of both worlds, so everybody's happy.
there's been not one time. There's been a handful of times I've debated taking mine to the game store.
We have some backers that have actually taken them to conventions.
Yeah.
So at PAX last year, they had that big Mycroft set up.
Rusted Beetle in our chat, actually, he's told me before he's not done both halves, but when you go to Adepticon, he would divide his table in half and take half of it so that he had like dedicated premium game space for all the tabletop minis that you'd play at Adepticon.
I remember, I think he's one of my early backers.
Yeah.
At the very first when we started, actually. Yeah, I love that.
But I personally am super excited for this new Kickstarter, because while you've got a lot of game tables, I will say that, and they're themed very well for like board games, as I've shifted more into to tabletop miniature games. There's a couple, but it hasn't been a huge focus, and there's a lot in this that you've shown me in here that I'm really excited about, especially like I may not like I'm not even looking for use on my game topper. Like I'm looking purely to grab like a 4x6 version of these to take to the game store and to lay out for playing Warhammer on.
Exactly, and that was really part of the inspiration in our last Kickstarter. I'm good friends with Joel Eddy from Drive Through Reviews. Love Joel. Joel's a big miniatures player. He does a lot of Warhammer and different things. And Jamie Keggy from the Secret Cabal too. He has a Watson and a Mycroft. And we got talking about some of these things, because I'm not a big miniatures player. I'm more of a board game centric player. My son, however, he's really big into all kinds. He's the youngest Star Wars Armada world champion. And Josiah is brilliant. He does a lot of Star Wars Legion too, but he does BattleTech and D&D and Flames of War, and he does a lot of painting of miniatures, so he's really into that side of the hobby. We got thinking, well, I think this is a segment that we haven't addressed very well. And when it comes to the type of mats that we do, we try to keep all the art assets around the edge of the mat, so the center is fairly neutral, so it doesn't mess with your eye visually with the games. It just creates an immersive environment, which I love. Some people don't like that. So there's about a 50-50 split right now about people that like the thematic mats over the more simple mats. So we have quite a few simple ones, like the cobalt blue, the crimson red, the steel gray, the wood grain. It looks almost like it's wood. People love that wood.
That used to that did throw people off at PAX Unplugged, where you're like, oh, is it real? And they're like, wait a minute, and you flip it over and like, nope, that's just a mat.
It's crazy how good our printing is, and we've done a lot of things to maintain extra quality regarding size, regarding the density of the neoprene we use too. It's not the thickness of neoprene that really matters as much as the density, so that it doesn't wrinkle, it keeps its shape. The way we cut it, the way we print it, we allow our mats to set for a week before we even cut them, so that we can get the size right and we don't have shrinkage issues. Very deliberate about the art process and the color matching. And even when we go from a 3 foot by 6 foot to a 3 by 3 of the same art, I have the artist redo the art for that aspect ratio. so that we're not stretching and doing that with the graphics. We're spending the extra money to make sure it really looks gorgeous. And that means there's slight orientation changes for the square mats, for instance. But those are just the little attention details that we really look at. And the artists that I work with are amazing. I mean, I am so grateful for the partnership with these artists. It's just been great. I usually will draw a sketch. I'll have the idea conceptually. I'll draw a sketch of it. I paint wildlife, so I've got enough artistic ability to get the direction going and be able to communicate well. Then I will send that to them, and then I try to back off and allow their creativity to thrive. And I'll give input depending on what, if there's something I'm concerned about with marketability or what my customers are going to want. A board game artist typically fills the whole canvas.
Yeah.
And so this is a little different. And so, no, we're just making an environment. I realize the perspective is slightly different. I realize it's a little less interesting in the center, but this is what we need to do because
it's designed for stuff to be in the center.
Exactly. And thankfully, we have the war terrain green that we've had all along. And a lot of war gamers have used that because that's a beautiful mat. But we started looking at other games that would maybe even, or mats that would over into miniatures and into board games. So I see on your screen there, you've got the new Desert Dune mat.
Yep. I'll flip it over here so people could see it. Yeah. This is the first one up here.
Dunes, and we made this specifically for those desert theater type of war games, but also for Dune Imperium. You see there's a little worm sign there. That's a little homage to Dune Imperium from Direwolf Digital. We actually had this mat at Gen Con. There was 12 Game Toppers in the Arcane Wonders room for Call of Duty. This was their big launch of the game, and we had one of these mats on 12 Sherlock Holmes tables, and talk about glorious. And they had their theater of their mat that they were demoing was in that desert scheme, and it just looked like $1 million. If you go to Game Toppers LLC.com or you go to Game Toppers Facebook page, you'll be able to see all those videos. We're going to be creating videos for each one of these mats with a bunch of thematic games that fit the theme. And we did a video for Dune Imperium, I think, that I just launched on Facebook. You can see that if you want to see how it actually looks with the game on there. But that's the Desert Dune. Beautiful map. And then the Battleground. This is this earth-based scorched earth. Got the craters and all that and beautiful coloring. And I'd like to say one thing about the terrain mats. This is the work from Jay Shalansky from 5th Trooper. Jay, do you know Jay?
No, but I've heard of the 5th Trooper before.
Yeah, he's super big into Star Wars Legion. They have a big podcast and a large following. They do mats also, and they sell them actually. My son met him at Adepticon and at some Star Wars Legion thing he was at, and really liked him. And so we got talking together. He doesn't sell like thousands and thousands of mat, but he sells the small ones, and he was trying to sell a few larger ones, but didn't really have the supply chain where he was always running out of stock, and then you had to wait till you had enough orders to be able to buy and all that kind of stuff. I said, I think I could help you. We started talking about it, and I said, I want to get more terrain maps. So we started working with him, and he did the art direction on these with just some input from us, and he's amazing. Just love the guy, and we're going to be doing all of his smaller mats for him, and then we're doing the larger mats all as part of the Game Topper line.
Let's see, and then of course you got the water.
Yeah, no, this was an amazing deal. In our last Kickstarter, we had a stretch goal that would say we would create a map based on what were the most popular options. And we did a survey, and there were 2 mats that we unlocked that we would create for people. This is finally the reveal of that. This was the number 2 requested mat, is the water mat. We'll get to what the number 1 was. But this is super cool. And I sent out these to a lot of media folks. They are like jonesing for this mat because they think their videos are going to
the
look
number
awesome.
of games that I can think of off the top of my head that this would be great for is a lot.
And we have we have the pirate mat and the Viking mat that has really nice water, but there's something about the simplicity and the coolness of this game mat,
Yep.
And of course, the Starfield. We have a beautiful space map, but it has a big moon and a big magenta type of nebula and a space station. So it has a little bit more art assets, which personally I love. We had a lot of people say, hey, we just want a Starfield. We're going to play, we're going to play Armada, or we're going to play other space games, and we just want Star. But we still created that whole hue so it gives the depth of a galaxy and that type of thing. And we got the print of this and super impressed with how good this printed. Beautiful stars.
All right. And then we got Mars.
Oh yeah, baby. So I've been super excited about doing this one because we love terraforming Mars, okay? And there's so many other different Mars games out there. But then there's so many of these, Warhammer games and different miniature games that use this type of look that it's so versatile. And yet it's not that busy. You can put anything on that and it'll look good. But that Mars mat, we played Terraforming Mars and we had all the expansions set up. Crazy cool.
Yeah, Molly McKee in the chat saying, yes, the water mat was my top pick and it's perfect.
Molly, how are you?
Yeah, I'm currently torn right now between the Battlefield and the Mars. For like one of these I'm getting, like I said, and just to use at the game store, and I got to figure out which one I'm getting. Maybe both. Who knows?
That's gonna be. We're gonna have a whole bunch of bundles, so it's gonna be cool. Then we go to the thematic. Well, Vincent Dutray, I love this guy. He's a Frenchman, but he lives in Korea. I don't know if many people know this. And he's one of the artists that he actually paints on canvas.
Oh, wow.
And then it becomes digitized. Yeah, it's amazing. And his art style is so iconic that you don't even have to, you just say Vincent Dutray and people say, here, take my money. Because they just love his art style. Well, what we wanted to create was a theme to be that jungle, Lost Worlds, Lost Ruins of Arnak, adventure, Quest for El Dorado, that type of jungle feel. But then we also wanted it to kind of meet Jurassic World, dinosaur games. So it would be kind of this crossover of that environment. And I got to tell you, he knocked it out of the park. It's gorgeous. When the flat picture, we just did a video of Perseverance from Mind Clash Games on it. Talk about awesome. And we did Lost Ruins of Arnak and had that all set up. We've got the snake tomb up in the left corner there. I don't know if you can zoom in on any of those, but that snake tomb is so cool. And then over on the right hand side, there's the Kong Island kind of thing. Down on bottom right hand side, there's a couple dinosaur skulls where there's a T-Rex and a Triceratops that munched each other and died over there. And then there's this huge retention bridge going over to those waterfalls, and there's runes in there and all kinds of little interesting Easter eggs and beautiful color scheme. There's so many games to play on this. This was a requested idea by quite a few people too.
Yeah, and I will say, because of just the way formatting goes, that the pictures on the stream are going to be a little bit cropped, so you're not going to see the entire thing. So you're definitely going to want to go check out the Kickstarter so you can see the full, especially on these thematic mats around the edges.
One thing that I'm doing too is we're taking pictures of 2 and 3 games on every one of these. I'm making a compilation video so that when you go to the Kickstarter, it'll show the thing, but you can click on it and you'll be able to see a whole video so you can see all the detail. But every day on our Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, I'm launching a new video with a new game so you can see all the cool stuff. So just follow us at Game Toppers and all of our different social things and you'll see some fun stuff. Oh yeah, baby. Love this mat. This is Yaroslav. He did our Viking mat, our pirate mat, our fantasy mat, our Foundations of Rome mat that we did for Arcade Wonders. I love his art style. He did our Scythe resource inspired
yes.
mat. I love this guy. I send him the art direction. He sends me the stuff and he goes, "What do I need to change?" I go, "Oh, this is perfect, brother. But could we add some detail?" And on this one, I said, "Could we add a caravan across the whole bottom that's going from the Nile port all the way over to Nefertiti's tomb? Can we just have?" And so he goes in there and he adds all these camels, and they're going. He puts a little oasis over there, and then he put they're on scaffolding, painting on the wall up there in Cleopatra's City. We played Amon Ra, the new on it. We played
Oh, Burky there. Ruh-roh.
We lost our guest.
Please stand by. Flip to me for a sec. Yep, there it goes.
There we go.
Hey,
back.
all right.
Are we back?
Yep.
I've got just a little spinny thing on my thing. Can you see me?
Yep.
Yeah, we see you.
Okay, well, I don't see you guys. It says shift enter to make a new line without sending your message. All right. Well, should I just keep going?
Yeah, just keep going.
Yeah.
Wait, we lost you. You talking about Amon-Ra.
Okay. Well, we had Amon-Ra, that game on there. Then we did Ankh, which was cool from Simon. And that was glorious on this mat. We also did Ra from 25th Century Games. And we also set up Cleopatra, City of Architects. So that was pretty cool. So you actually have video of me here now, right?
I had video of you. Once we got you back, we still got you.
Okay, because I don't have anything now.
Yep, we've still got you.
Okay.
Novacek says the jungle one will be great for the husband's Tomb of Annihilation D&D campaign, and I agree that would be perfect for that.
Cool. And so I think what someone I posted it in our Game Topper Nation Facebook group where I'm teasing a lot of these right now and getting their feedback. But someone said I should have Kemet on there.
Mm-hmm.
I went, oh yeah, I love Kemet. And so they're just a lot of fun things. And this mat is pretty neutral too. So there's a lot of different things. You could play Mosaic on it even because it has some of those themes.
All right, I'm excited for the next one though. I briefly skipped ahead. This one may have to be for my Watson because you know me and the Arkham Horrors.
Well, I'm gonna try to. Okay, I'm on the YouTube channel, so I can actually see what you're seeing now.
Gotcha. Yep, we got the horror one by John McCambridge.
Yep. Okay, this is the #1 requested mat from our last Kickstarter campaign. And so I was really working hard to find an artist that had the style. And this artist, he's a professor of digital art in Ireland. And he did some work for Time Stories, Cavendish, it was called. And I said, yeah, I want this Mansions of Madness, this old creepy mansion and this little spooky cemetery type of thing. And of course, it's got a Cthulhu tentacle down there sneaking out of the water by the bridge. And there's these creepy little Easter eggs all over there. But it's just got this perfect October type of feel. And Rob Rouse from Blue Peg Pink Peg, he was posting because they watch all these shows, during October, and they love some of these themed games. And I don't have a lot of them personally, but it was like, what would you put on this? And he goes, I gotta have that mat. It is so cool.
Yeah, the more I look at this mat, the more I'm just enthralled. Like the way that the moon is in the background, and then just like the phantasm kind of coming out of the mystic energy kind of coming out of the door here. And of course you got the tentacle stuff. It's so nice.
There's some Easter eggs over in the tree on the far end right, and that there's some little hidden stuff you see kind of around that cemetery, which is kind of cool.
All right.
Yep. So that's the horror mat.
And then we got the Old West one. And
this thing is so cool. I think this is one of my favorites. I love this mat. Our idea was to have an Old West meets Age of Steam train type theme mat. So like the Old West Ticket to Ride, some of those type. The new Ticket to Ride Legacy, for instance, set in the Old West vintage Age of Steam era. So there's two railroad scenes in this, and also a train depot. Really cool assets around the Old West town. There's a gold mine down in the bottom right-hand corner. Again, the center is pretty neutral. We played Coloma on this, and I posted some pictures of it. I love Coloma. I posted some pictures, and sure enough, Final Fantasy Fantasy Frontier Games reached out to us and said, we love that mat. We did their Kickstarter for their expansion to Coloma from, Johnny Pack designed it. And we actually are doing 2 sizes of this mat for them for their Kickstarter.
Oh, wow.
And we set up Western Legends on this game mat. We set up a Ticket to Ride game. We set up Coloma. We're setting up Carson City for a video shoot, Carson City Deluxe on it. And this mat's just gorgeous. It's some of these mats, you just want to leave them on the table just for art.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
It's just so fun. And when I put out my player boards, it's like it didn't intrude. It just made it better. It's just like, I feel like I'm here. I'm in the Old West, and I'm doing my stuff, and get me my 6-shooter,
Yeah. I have to send this one to Colin and Cindy because this has got them written all
definitely.
over it.
Yeah, and it'd be great too for, like Colt Express and some of those fun games too. And then this mat is probably one of the most gorgeous mats I've ever seen. And by the way, the Old West was made by Xavier Gonzalez. He goes by Xavier Ink Golem. He's done a ton of work for Fantasy Flight Games and Asmodee. He's an amazing artist. He lives in France now, but he's a Spaniard, and he's just a fantastic artist. Loved working with him. Hope to work with him again. But this mat that's so gorgeous is from Amber Scarf. I love Amber. She's a honey. She lives in the UK, and she's worked with Vincent Dutray on several projects like Museum and some others. And what a joy to work with. And I said, I wanted a mat that just exuded all of the nature themes, like games like Wingspan and Creature Comforts and Cascadia. And this mat is full of Easter egg animals all over the place. I keep finding stuff, and it is so beautiful. I think this has the potential to be the #1 selling mat.
I can imagine. I gotta pull it down so it shows up on screen, because I was looking for the you showed me this, and you showed the Wingspan bird as one of the Easter eggs, and I found it. It's up here in the corner, but it was cut off on the stream.
Oh, it's just gorgeous. I have one of the smaller ones for the Young Sherlock, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. But this Young Sherlock children's table, end table, puzzle table, it's a 30 by 38 inch. And my wife and I were camping, and I have that Hudson size It's half of the home, or half of the Watson makes the Hudson, which is 30 by 38 play area, perfect for our camper and perfect for the camping, picnic table. But I had one of these made for that, and we played Creature Comforts on that for our anniversary here just this last year in August. And we just loved it. It was just so cool. And then the kids, when they were playing on this, they just loved playing on it because it was so, they just loved all the animals, So all kinds of children's games. We played Animals on Animals and made a video with a couple of my grandkids playing on this, and they just had a blast.
All right. Yep. And that's the last one there. So, speaking of, you were talking about the young Sherlocks. Let me.
Mm-hmm.
Oops. Hopefully I didn't. Did I? Oh, are y'all still there?
Yep,
yeah, we're still here.
I can hear you. I just can't see you.
Nope. I hit close instead of shift, and so I was worried I hit it too much. But over here on you can see if you go to GameToppersLLC.com, you'll show you their main page, and you've got a special giveaway going on. Oh, Burky, did you lose you again?
Something just happened, and the screen came up and said hit enter, and I hit enter, and now I'm seeing you all.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Woo-hoo!
So
I'm not seeing myself, but I see you guys.
Whatever works.
I don't need to see myself. Nobody needs to see that. So
I keep telling Chris that, and he keeps putting my face on the webpage, man. This is...
Well, one of the ideas we've had because of this Game Topper portability, functionality, the leg kit solution, we got thinking about a whole bunch of different things. Next year, we have more stuff coming that's going to blow people away. It's just, we're not resting on any of our laurels. I can tell you that. We're trying to get better. It just always takes a lot of time to develop things, and I'm really conscious about testing stuff to make sure it's good first. I really want the customer to have a good experience. I really want it to be awesome. And so we spend a lot of time. Well, I got into this, how do I make a portable game table? Because how many people now, we have these reclining sofas, right? Well, if you got a coffee table, it's hard to move a big old coffee table, slide it across your carpet or scratch your floor or whatever. And so I thought, could we make a leg kit that has a shorter leg, but then a heavy duty caster? So working with my manufacturers, I had prototyped 3 of these casters, and they were cheap. I don't want that. I need it heavy duty. Finally got this one 1,500 pound capacity walking. You could use this for a shop table. And that's how it's durable. We had to reinforce the steel leg to make it just slightly bigger and heavier gauge so we could put a bigger weld on it even. So it's really cool, super durable. They're lockable, and it's as stout as can be. I can jump right on it. I wouldn't worry about it a lick with kids just going at it. It's bulletproof. The functionality is you can have it as half of your Watson, which is the Hudson, or half of your Holmes, which is the Lestrade 3x3. But technically, you could actually have your Moriarty, half of, part of your Mycroft 4x4, or the Adler. We're out of stock of that right now, but the Adler is a 3 foot by 4 foot. That could become a bigger coffee table. But then it's great for children's games. So all of a sudden we get the little guys out there playing, and we can do all kinds of thematic game mats, like race car mats and little farmyards and Legos. And I mean, we can just have all kinds of fun with this and really make it a family affair, and yet make it, and if you're already a backer, you're in.
Yep.
If you've already got the rail bundle, and if you don't have the rail bundle, you can buy a rail bundle where you buy the rail and get the smaller mat and the rail bag, and then you attach that. You can buy this just as a leg kit to add to your system, or you can buy it as a whole package that we're going to offer on the Kickstarter. So I'm super excited about the Young Sherlock. I think it's got a lot of possibilities and meets just another need for gamers.
Oh, yeah.
And puzzles.
Yeah,
there's a lot of puzzlers. Like when we use our coffee table, we use it as a server because the EPVC floor is waterproof basically. We serve chips and dips on it, all that kind of stuff, and have the cup holders, all that kind of stuff, and then wipe it off and roll out the mat, and we're playing party games.
Yeah.
And it works great for entertaining. It's perfect in the living room, you know.
Yeah, especially post-pandemic, there's become puzzles has become a big, huge thing, especially board game related puzzles.
Oh yeah, and Chad from BGG, Chad Krisen, he has that company called Puzzle Bomb where they make these really cool wooden puzzles. He's actually sending me one, and I'm going to do some pictures on the Game Topper because that's that really cool type of puzzles, and yeah, it's fun stuff. And we're actually giving away an entire Young Sherlock package. It's over $1,000 bundle with a whole bunch of cup holders, mats, storage, leg kit, the whole kit and caboodle. You can do that at GameToppersLLC.com. There's multiple ways to enter, so if you go do several different things, you can get up to 10 entries to win this bad boy, and we're going to be giving that away in December.
So after the Kickstarter?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Well,
we wanted it to last all the way through PAX Unplugged, that everybody could still get into to enter to win.
Gotcha. And so if you've got the Kickstarter coming up later this month, but you still have stuff available on your website right now if people want to get some of the existing product, right?
It was so funny. We're really low on stock of the Mycroft until our next aluminum run next year. And a guy called me up and we were talking, and he says, yeah, I really want that. And I started telling him about the Kickstarter. I said, well, we're going to have some really cool stuff. And we got this new designer art series that I want to show you real quick too. But I said, we've got these things and we're going to have stretch goals, and it's going to be pretty exciting. And there's going to be some extra stuff you're going to get. So, you know, if you don't mind waiting, you'll probably get a few extra things. And he goes, I can't wait. I just got to get it right now. And so he ordered it. And we do have a package deal called the Reichenbach Falls package for the Mycroft. We have the Scotland Yard package for the Watson, and the Baker Street bundle for the Holmes Topper package deal. So there's still good deals where they're all bundled together to save you compared to buying everything individually. And they're available and ship out every day from our warehouse right now.
Gotcha. Chris Henderson in the chat says the nature one really pops for him, Burky, and it just says, wow. And then Rusted Beetle, we mentioned earlier, he meant, like you said, he's one of the original Topper backers. He does ask a question, though, will there ever be a leg kit for the people that own the original Topper? Because I know you had to change the design a little bit to be able to incorporate the leg kit, right?
Exactly. You know, that was it was really a learning lesson for me, honestly, because when we first started, we were just thinking Topper, portable, put it away. And then this whole concept of actually having legs that were sturdy, affordable, all of that, you know, that wasn't what we were ever thinking. So we sold these as toppers and delivered what we sold. But there was about 800 backers of that first campaign, which I care about deeply. So what we tried to do is we spent quite a bit of money doing 3 different prototypes of leg kits. And for one reason or another, they all failed. Mostly that they weren't very stable, or they kind of walked. Some where they were really expensive, and the one just was ugly as sin, so I didn't like it. And it wasn't great anyway. So we just said, I got to do better than that. Well, long and short of that, talking with the engineers, we had to re-engineer the rail so that the rail had this screw channel in it here. I don't know if you can see that.
No, I don't think we have your video anymore.
Okay. So I wonder, is there a way for me to give you the video?
You may have to turn on the camera again.
Camera. Boom. Turn on camera. Yeah, when it reset, that all went away. Okay, here we go. So here is the screw channel in the bottom, and that's right here. Well, we had to re-engineer that, and I kind of liken it to, you know, when they come out with new navigation in your truck, They didn't used to have that, but they made it better. That's what we had to do, and it was a tough decision, but there wasn't any way we found, and it was an expensive decision. It cost me over $15,000 to redo the molds just so we could incorporate this feature. But the learning part of all that was that going forward, we're doing everything we can to maintain backward compatibility with all of our products. So like our extension leaf, the 24-inch extension leaf to make your Watson a Watson XL, you basically can backward, any backer can add that later, or the rail, that type of thing. The leg kit brackets, there is a way to actually attach them with some sheet metal screws. We've had 3 backers that actually did it and they haven't had any problem with it, but we didn't do exhaustive testing and it's not designed for it. So there is some options, but it basically works as a topper. But one of the things, we're having a lot of people are going almost like having a TV where they've got 2 toppers in their home, more and more. I got a couple people that have over 4 toppers in their home. Yeah, it's pretty cool. They have game nights and, you know, they trick it all out, and it's pretty fun. So they still will function as you design, but, you know, and then there's always the option of selling it because it is still a good topper. Just doesn't have that leg kit compatibility on the very, very few, well, not very few, but about 800 folks that we've sold about 5,000 toppers since we started. So it's really been pretty cool.
Yeah. But he says he still loves his original topper and he wouldn't sell it even to get a new version.
Well, I did wrestle with that one. I honestly did, because I cared deeply about everybody that had that situation too, and they wanted the leg kit, and you know, that's the way it is. But we've had a lot of people that have really been creative with their under tables, like Mark Street from Dice RPUs. Him and his dad went and bought this Duncan Fife table, and it was a little rickety. They re-glued it, painted it black, and put the Watson topper on. He does all of his videos for the Dice Tower on this. This thing looks like $1 million, and it cost him like $100. You know, just getting a secondhand table that you're getting on Facebook, you know, or Marketplace or whatever. And so there's a lot of cool options there still to, you know, to function that way.
And you've even got a Facebook group I've seen where people will post some of these things that they've done with their game toppers.
The Game Topper Nation Facebook group. It's I tell them, listen, this isn't a place for customer service. If you need us, just give us a call or email us at support@Game Toppers LLC. We'll take care of you. This is just a place for fun, and there's about 1,500 people in there that just, they're kind of my brain trust too. So I send stuff over there and say, hey, what do you think about this? And what do you think about this? And so I get feedback from them, and I'm doing special giveaways sometimes in the group, and you know, all of that kind of thing, and just love that community. So that's super fun. So if you haven't joined that and you're a Game Topper backer, feel free to join Game Topper Nation on Facebook.
All right. Well, as we wind things down here, where do people need to go to find out all the updates and see when the Kickstarter page launches?
Well, the Kickstarter is going to launch October 24th, and there's some other things we haven't talked about, but we have some mat storage solutions that you're going to love. We've got the new Baker Street Irregular mini mat storage solution that is stackable, and you can hang it on closet doors, you can hang it on our mat racks, and we have a new designer series. We're calling it the Designer Art Series, and we hired Woodside Illustrations. These are people that have worked with Disney, where they've done Ahsoka art. Brent and Kayla Woodside, they're amazing artists, where we're doing this. The first one is a D&D themed Mycroft topper. Now, I can show it to you real quick if you like. No one has seen this yet.
Ooh.
First time, world premiere, Boards and Swords, right here, baby.
I'd do a drum roll, but I suck at it.
Okay, this is the first test sample. We have wooden inlays, beautiful walnut, beautiful oak, but because the cost of that was so high, we got thinking, is there a way for us to use a different substrate than these premium woods, but still make something really high quality but thematic? we found that there's a specific kind of vinyl that can be printed with this heavy-duty laminate that they use on floor graphics, so it's scuff-proof and very durable, and it's affordable. And then it's just a matter of what kind of art, what kind of ideas can we come up with. Well, I talked to them at Origins, and we started talking about this idea of a D&D themed. We might do a superhero themed one. We might do a space themed one. I mean, the possibilities are endless, but this is the new D&D theme. And there's going to be 4 storybook sections on each side of the topper.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
And there we go. The first reveal. You've got the end book here. And here you've got our crew of travelers sitting at the tavern. And they're thinking about how are we going to go and get this dragon horde. There's a drow sitting there in the window just lurking. And then you got a bunch of minstrels out here minstreling. And who's sitting over in the corner? There's a wizard watching on what's going on. And then we've got the other half of the book right there.
That's so cool.
Now, is this fun or what?
That is so cool.
How gorgeous this is. The colors, the durability. This is going to be about $300 less than our walnut Mycroft and have all this amazing, gorgeous art. The next scene on this here, because the Mycroft has 3 24-inch sections, the next scene has this group of travelers going through their journey through the wilderness with all kinds of perilous things going on around them. Then the third one, they're bookmarked with these books. So when they butt together, it looks like an open book, which is really cool. I love these artists. Brent and Kayla are just gems. And the third one, they're getting at the mouth of the cave, but there's some kobolds there guarding the entrance of the dragon cave, and so there's a little skirmish that happens. But then the big 48-inch end cap is this huge scene where they're fighting the dragon, and it's epic. It's like, I want to sit on the end. I want to sit on the end. These other ones tell a story.
That's the GM side. The GM gets that one. Yeah, Peter Bannister's in the chat saying there's too many mats to choose from. Thanks for the show and tell. And then you could tell he finally got to the reveal of the things like, oh my gosh, I won.
I hope people will dig it. Brent and Kayla are big D&D people too, so the art style that he has is unique, and it's seeped in that whole universe. So I think there'll be some common tropes that'll really feel familiar, and yet not be too. I mean, the art is gorgeous, but it aesthetically looks really pretty. So I think people will love this in their home, and then the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
What are we going to do next? We're going to do the coolest things ever. I mean,
and it's
we're gonna
easily stuff
go.
that you can easily build on more stuff. Like when you're introducing an idea, and it's like, well, now we can just make even more of this.
I've talked to publishers about this. I said, listen, we can do special.
Yeah.
You got a big hit game. You want a branded rail? Boom, we can do it. You want a Pokemon table? Boom, we can do it. Whatever our licensing and whatever the art capabilities are, we can do it.
Philip, we need a new Patreon goal.
We do need a new Patreon goal. I've been flipping through the website this whole time, and the one thing that got me was clicking on the Mycroft, and it's got Star Trek Ascendancy set up on the table.
Yeah.
Because you need a
game.
giant table for Ascendancy.
You do. We played, when we got Mosaic, had a 6-player game. Well, those player boards are so honking big, and then it's so massive with your tableau anyway. We tried to put it on the Watson, and we could get 4 players. And the Watson is like 90% of the games out there is just fine. We played TI4 on a Watson with 6 players.
The Watson is what I have, Philip.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was cramped. I mean, no question, it was cramped, but we made it work. Well, the Mycroft, you get that extra 10 inches of width, and then you also have another whole foot on the other end of it, or 2 feet, excuse me. 1 foot. So it goes from 5 feet to 6 feet. And we played Mosaic and Star Trek Ascendancy. That's exactly why if you go to our website and you click on the banners for each model, you'll see games set up because we wanted to show you games and their orientation to give you a feel of what's the best for you. The Watson's our #1 seller, but the Mycroft and the Home are right there next to each other and very close in sales. So there's a lot of variability for people.
Yeah, Chris Henderson says with the 4.0 Kickstarter, I guess I need to get another bottle of bubbles for your celebration at the end.
He's awesome. Yeah, he sent us a little congratulatory gift on Kickstarter 3.0, and we celebrated with that and on a live video actually, and that was really a kindness. And that's one thing about our backers, I gotta tell you. Just like you guys helping at the show. I mean, I have so much affection for all of you. I just appreciate you more than I could tell you. And my heart is so full because of, we did this just to try to help people upgrade their gaming. And people come up to me all the time and go, Burky, we never thought I could own a game table. And now we've got one and it's good. It's high quality. This is, I'm not missing anything. I mean, they love this and they thank me. And I'm like, thank you. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. And I'm so thrilled that you love this. I mean, I the other day we were filming and I get kind of emotional about it almost because it's been 5 years. It's been a crazy amount of hard work. I've worked my tail off, but I was looking at this stuff and I go, this never existed before. It was never here. And all of a sudden we've had this community that said, hey, we like it. And my heart was just so full of gratitude and awe almost, because it's, how do you sell millions of dollars of stuff? And we're still a small company and we're not like rolling in cash, but we've survived and we're still making cool stuff, Yeah,
and I will say as another note in there that it is nice because you can also like there's a lot you can get for it, but you don't always have to get it at the beginning. So like that was part of the deal of getting the topper. It was like I'm buying into a system, and then every time Christmas or a birthday rolls around, I'm just like, hey, like I sold my.
I need some more cup holders. I need another rail.
Yeah, exactly. I literally sold my parents on the rail package that you're talking about, where you get the rail length and the mat and the carrying stuff as a, hey, if I got this, I could bring, the smaller version of my table to your house and we could play on that. Sure enough, next Christmas, there's a box of stuff for me.
That was awesome. Yeah, I love that. And we've tried to do that to widen the brand too, so that there's more coolness. And I always say that when you get a Game Topper, you're not just upgrading one game. You're upgrading every game that you play from here on out. It's the ultimate gaming accessory. And that's our tagline, is upgrading people's gaming experience. That's what we're trying to do. And hopefully we're going to keep doing it. And hopefully we're going to get better and better. Next year, I got more ideas. And I can't even talk about some of them. But if they transpire like I think, we're going to need a lot more workers, and we're going to need a bigger facility, and we're even exploring that with our state and city leaders to build a couple expansions to our warehouse. And so,
oh my gosh,
if we can make this all happen, we're going to get better and be able to do more, and we're hopefully even be able to lower our pricing.
Awesome.
So,
well,
I'm trying.
I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping us up here.
That's been this week's episodes, everyone. We thank you for joining us. We thank Burky for joining us and showing off all the amazing stuff over at Game Toppers LLC. If you like what we're doing here, you got to check out our Patreon. Also, check out the website, boardsandswords.com/live. It's got the schedule and the links to all of our live streaming channels.
All right, send us feedback. We love it. Feedback at boardsandswords.com. And you can find us facebook.com/boardsandswordspod, at boardsandswordschris on Instagram, and also Threads. So boardsandswords.com for links to everything else, like our Patreon. Check it out to help support the show, and we'll be back in 2 weeks with another show. In the meantime, Remember that every gamer has a story, and if a topper holds a Burky, you know it's good. I saw it on the cover. There's one of the pictures of the covers that's got Burky laying across. It's like, if it can hold a Burky.
If it can hold a Burky, it's good. It's good enough for your house. Burky not included.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thank you, everyone in the chat room, for joining us. I know we had a bunch of new people there. I'm going to stop the stream now, but I appreciate all of you.